Hello everybody and welcome back to Minimalist Gourmet, where today I'll be showing you how to make 3 amazing edible gifts that you can give during this holiday season. These are not only quick and easy to make, but better, they are delicious and pretty easy on your budget, which we could all use right about now. Today I'll be showing you how to make a very tasty and rich chocolate hot cocoa. I'll also be showing you how to make a delectable and creamy chocolate fudge. And we're going to round that out by making some delicious chocolate peppermint stir sticks. So let's get started. For me, it wouldn't be the holiday season without a nice cup of hot cocoa, and this is my recipe. It starts out with 1 1/8 cup of cocoa powder. To this, we will add 1 3/4 of a cup white granulated sugar. To make that flavor pop to 10, we're going to add a tablespoon of salt. Now, this is optional, however, it really makes the flavor pop to add a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. I really don't think it's optional, to be fair with you. It's so delicious. Just add it in. Now we're going to go ahead and give all of this a whisk. You want to make sure that all the ingredients are well combined and you don't have any chunks of sugar or cocoa in. If you need to, you can absolutely sieve this and break up any clumps that might remain. Mine was very smooth, so I didn't have to. Once you're done mixing, you have finished making your cocoa mix. Now let's take a look at how you prepare this. You can make this with a mug full of either hot water or hot milk. I believe that the milk is a little better as it's creamier, but both work great. To your mug of hot milk, you're going to add 2 rounded tablespoons of your mix directly in. Now, you want to take a spoon and stir this very well until it's completely dissolved. It's just as easy as making those packets you get at the store, but this tastes so much better and is a fraction of the price. Now, to package these up into gifts, I like to use these little cellophane bags. They work a treat and they are quite affordable. I just like to fold back the top here so I don't cover that in the cocoa mix as I add it in. I'm packaging this as a single serving, so once again, I'll be adding 2 rounded tablespoons of our cocoa mix into the bag. Now, if you want to turn this gift up a little bit nicer, you can add a chocolate spoon to this. We'll be looking at how to make these later on in the video. And of course, it wouldn't be a cup of cocoa if it didn't have some marshmallows. So we're going to go ahead and toss a few of those in, and you're all set. Now, to seal these off, I like to just simply twist everything together here at the top around the handle of the spoon. Just bring the cellophane in, twist it till it's nice and tight, and then we're going to make sure that it stays nice and sealed and nothing falls out with a piece of ribbon. I'm about as useful as a screen door on a submarine when it comes to wrapping presents, so I just go with your old classic bow that you tie on your shoe, and it works just fine for me. A great idea if you want to give a larger quantity of your cocoa mix to someone is to fill a mason jar with one of those lids that seal up with the cocoa mix, and then just don't forget to put a sticker or a label on there that tells them how to actually make it, that you want to use 2 tablespoons per cup. This fudge recipe only takes 5 minutes to make. I have 1/2 of a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk in a microwave safe bowl, and to this I'm going to add 1 cup of chocolate chips. Then we have half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and to make sure that flavor always pops to 11, we're going to give this just a couple of pinches of regular salt. Before we actually make the fudge, we need to prepare the container that we're going to use as a mold to set the fudge. This is real simple. All we're going to do is take a piece of parchment paper, press it down so that it lines the bottom and the sides so we can use it later to pull out the fudge as a brick. To cook the fudge, we're actually going to use the microwave, believe it or not. You want to cook this in increments of about 15 or 20 seconds. You don't want to set it on for just the whole period and leave it. It will burn the chocolate. So go ahead and cook it for about 15 or 20 seconds. Open up the microwave, pull it out, and then you're going to mix it. This will evenly distribute the heat and make sure that you don't burn your chocolate. It only took me about 30, maybe 40 seconds in the microwave to melt my chocolate completely. Now, the second time I cooked it, I pulled it out and I stirred it. Notice how the texture looks a bit like chunky peanut butter. It's not very smooth, but as I mix it together more and the heat distributes and allows that chocolate to melt, it changes texture and color. It becomes very smooth and very glossy, quite a bit like chocolate cake frosting. And once you reach this stage, you are done cooking your fudge. You can go ahead and put it into your mold. Pour your fudge into the container that you're using as a mold. Definitely make sure to get every last little drop out. Then take your spatula and spread it out into a nice even layer. You want to make sure that you get all the way down into the corners and work it around so that everything is the same thickness. And finally, I like to give it a real heavy shake and a few taps on the table to try to work out any air bubbles that might be caught in the center. This just makes for a nicer, smoother fudge. We're going to allow this to come down to room temperature for about 40 minutes and then place our lid on top and let it set in the refrigerator for about 2 to 4 hours so it can set up. It's a few hours later in TV time and our fudge has set up. Now, as I said, we can simply remove this from the mold because we used some parchment paper. Now, we need to peel the parchment paper off of the fudge, so just take your time here to pull off the edges and make sure you don't rip the fudge. Now, since we're giving this as a gift, we want it to look as nice as possible. I'm going to go around and cut the edges off all four sides so that it's nice and square and we can cut nice square cubes out of it. Of course, do not throw these fudge pieces away from the sides. That can go to you, the person who made it. Now, as I'm cutting these up into cubes, I'd like to make 2 points. One, this recipe doubles perfectly so that it takes exactly one bag of chocolate chips and 1 can of sweetened condensed milk and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And point two is that you can make this fudge any flavor you'd like. So if you can find chocolate chips that are in semi-sweet, dark chocolate, white chocolate, peanut butter, mint, anything like that would work great. You can make various different forms of this in different flavors and add different toppings if you'd like, say like cookie pieces or nuts. For my chocolate covered spoons, I'm going to make mine peppermint flavored and crunch up a few peppermint candy canes here. Now, if you want to try this with something like a hard butterscotch candy or hard caramel candy that you can crack up, they should all work pretty well. So definitely let your imagination run wild and try out some of those as well. Simply place your candies into a bag and then use something like a rolling pin, a wine bottle, a flat bottomed pot that's hard to crunch up the candy into nice pieces that you can sprinkle onto the chocolate spoons later. As far as the spoons go, I'm just using a clear plastic disposable spoon that I found at my local supply store, so anything that you have similar to that should work. Additionally, we're going to need a piece of parchment paper on top of a plate that has a lip. As far as the chocolate, you need something that stays solid at room temperature. So all of like your chocolate candy bars, chocolate chips, baking chocolate, but make sure that it is sweetened, that you would eat it normally. And just like the fudge, we're going to melt the chocolate in the microwave. So we're going to put this on for about 15 to 20-second increments. Once again, take it out, stir it to distribute that heat, and allow the chocolate to evenly melt. So just go ahead and use as many cycles of 15 seconds as it takes to gently and slowly melt your chocolate until it's nice and smooth. Once your chocolate looks like this, it's nice and smooth, there are no lumps, and it has a nice glossy sheen, you should be ready to go. As far as assembling your spoons, it's relatively easy. Just take your spoon by the handle, dip the head of the spoon into the chocolate so that you completely fill up the bowl. Allow it to drain off for just a few moments here before moving it gently to your parchment paper. This right here is why I like to use a plate with a lip on it, so that when I place the spoons down, it doesn't fall back and have all the chocolate fall out of the bowl of the spoon. Once you have all your spoons filled with chocolate and it's still melted, you want to sprinkle in a little bit of your candy. Now, of course, the candy is 100% optional, so if you don't have it or don't want to use it, just go ahead and skip this step. Place these into the fridge and allow them to harden up for at least 2 hours. Now, let's say you want to do a spoon that has two different flavors. So, for example, you do, I don't know, a dark chocolate interior and a mint exterior, or milk chocolate interior and a white chocolate exterior. Whatever you'd like to do, you can do it this way. Simply take your first melted chocolate flavor and pour it directly into the bowl of the spoon. Now, you want to try to make sure that it doesn't overlap and spill over the sides, so just try to make this nice and clean here and allow it to just fill up the bowl of the spoon. Place your filled spoons into the freezer and allow them to freeze solid. They need to be nice and cold before we move on to the next step. Take your frozen spoon and dip it into the second flavor of chocolate. So for example, say that this is mint chocolate. I'm going to go ahead and dip the spoon in, roll it around really quick to get everything coated on the exterior, and allow it to drip dry here for just a few moments before moving it to a piece of parchment paper on a plate that has a lip once again. Now, this is why you wanted to have a very frozen chocolate to start with your first flavor so that when you dipped it into the second flavor, it didn't melt. Now, just like before, we're going to go ahead and transfer this plate into the fridge and allow them to solidify completely and harden up before packaging. All you have to do now is stir one of these into a cup of coffee and convert it into a delicious peppermint mocha. And hey guys, it's just that easy to make these delicious gifts in your home tonight. And don't forget that these recipes are very kid-friendly, so you get the entire family involved. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. I do appreciate your time today, and I hope that these recipes can help each and every one of you give the gift of homemade this holiday season. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again here real soon on another episode of Minimalist Gourmet.